YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and we had an interesting update in Total War Rome 2 today. Not one that I expected, but I guess one that actually a lot of people were pretty excited about, and kind of caught me off guard, so I was paying attention to it. And I just showed you like an online battle as a Swaby, and so it didn't include any of these updates, and then also there's going to be a bunch more online battles that I'm uploading that don't necessarily include these updates, but I will try and get into some online action as soon as I can with these units. But until then, I promise you I have some great online fights coming up. I think y'all are going to enjoy them. But in any case, today I want to talk to you about the August Warriors update pack, which was a free LC, or a free additional content to Rome 2. And then also there was a free Swaby roster update that also came. And then there's a DLC that released, which is $3 US, and it is called Daughters of Mars Unit Pack. So let's cover what went on in these real quick, and I'm going to give you the quick rundown and show you some of these units after we discuss them and kind of get an idea of what they are, and then we'll take a look at some of them in combat just for fun. So, starting with the Swaby, I'm going to run through the units. So, right now, starting now, I'm going to cover the free female warrior units that came out, and then the free Swaby roster update units. We're going to cover everything that was free first, so anybody who owns Total War Rome 2 got this update to your game, and then I will let you know when I start on the Daughters of Mars unit pack so that you can separate the two. So starting off with the free units, again, let's go with the Swaby. And one of the free female warrior units that they received was the Hex Bearers, and this is an infantry unit with sword and shield. It's a new Swaby garrison unit in campaign, and then it says ambushing from hidden woodland positions, the sword-armed Hex Bearers strike terror into the hearts of the enemy. So the Hex Bearers unit, let's take a look at it statistics-wise, and let's break it down. 50 melee attack is fantastic. 39 weapon damage is pretty sturdy for a sword unit. 10 bonus versus infantry is right on par for what we expect. Only 16 charge bonus. This is pretty low for a Swaby unit. This means that they won't necessarily beat Roman legions on the charge. And they only have 41 melee defense, which means that this is going to be a high attack unit that's going to sputter out kind of when it comes to a long, drawn-out engagement. Their armor is also low, their health is also low, their base morale is quite sturdy. So I believe this unit is going to be more useful to you as a flanking unit. They don't look like they're created for a mainline engagement against units with higher melee defense and armor. Though they do have a good attack, they're not going to be good on the charge, and they're not going to be good in a frontline drawn-out engagement. This looks like it's going to be better as a flanking unit. And the reason I say that also is because it does have the Scare Everyone ability. So it says this unit frightens all nearby enemy units, which just makes it even more effective as a flanking unit because you get to combine that without flanked penalties. And it does have a special ability here, which is Curse, and it reduces the enemy morale. So that makes this unit particularly useful. Get these guys on the flank, use that special ability. It's kind of like Warcry, apparently, except it works on nearby enemy units. So this could be a potentially devastating unit on the flanks, giving Swaby a real tool here. Not a very powerful unit. It looks like it could get shot up fairly easy by skirmishers. Probably run down by Cav pretty easily too. But yeah, it's going to be a great flanking unit. Plus, it's only 60 women per unit here. So, or is this a women unit or a man unit? I haven't looked at it yet. So, female warrior units. Yeah, it's a woman unit. So this is one of the units now. So all of these units are female units they added. So this is a female unit that they added to the game. Sorry, I got confused. They are capped at 2 per army. There's only 60. So this is a specialty unit. It's not a mainline infantry unit. So it's going to be half the strength of your standard infantry unit, numbers-wise. So the next thing that got added to the Swaby, I'm going to cover the rest of the Swaby units, and then there's a couple of other free female units that were added to the game. So the next unit that they said they added here is Horse Runners, which is infantry javelin skirmishers, and here they are. And so it says, just the quick description, these fleet of foot warriors can strike hard and fast from cover, making them the elite of the Swaby skirmishers. They are definitely an elite javelin unit for the Swaby to take advantage of, and they're a very interesting one. They have very good melee attack, weapon damage, charge bonus, good melee defense for a skirmisher, pretty low armor for the heavier skirmishers, and pretty low health, and then their base morale is really quite terrible. So what are they good for? They're just a heavy skirmisher, it looks like. You know, you could discharge their ammunition and then try and get them into the flank of an enemy unit. At only 30 health and armor with 20 morale, it's not going to take much to put these guys out of business. I mean, that is very low morale, very low. it's similar to like these Germanic youths here. So it's not like it's lower than units that you've used before, but just keep in mind that these guys are heavier and they're an interesting unit, but they're not going to be big on morale. So definitely an interesting add-in there, though. So the Swaby getting a slightly more powerful, what do you call it, a javelin unit. The next unit that they added is the Spear Wall, which is an infantry unit, spear and shield. It's found right here. And the description on this one real quick says the most defensive spear unit in the Swaby roster. The Spear Wall is a bulwark against even the most powerful cavalry. And let's take a look at this. It does have a 15 bonus versus large, which is good. Its melee attack is pretty low. Weapon damage is very standard for a spear unit. Bonus versus large is very standard for a spear unit, 15. Charge bonus at 23. Again, nothing out of the ordinary. What is extraordinary here is the melee defense at 86. That is enormous. And these guys have a 40 shield value as well, which that's a very substantial shield. Armor-wise, they have, again, a big shield value and a little bit of extra base value. Health only at 45, which not particularly high, but for this price range, pretty standard. And same thing with base morale, pretty standard for this price range, if not maybe just a smidge higher than I would expect at this price range. This is going to be a very sturdy unit. And when you look at their capabilities here, wedge? Really? Wedge? I've never seen that on a spear unit. That one's interesting. So yeah, wedge on a spear unit. I don't know if that was a mistake or what. They have shield screen, which is going to give them extra bracing, melee defense, and shield strength. And then you're going to have cavalry counter tactics, which gives them a higher bonus. These guys are going to be a very sturdy anti-cav unit, but they're also pretty expensive for an anti-cav unit. What's going to be interesting to see, and I'm going to have to test, is how long can they hold out against sword infantry? Could they be a good potential anvil for the Swaby to use to try and do rear charges or outflanking maneuvers? That would be a curiosity for me. Their armor is decent, though it's not real high. They look kind of armored in this little unit card, but it's not very high armor. Alright, the next unit, Round Shield Swordsman, right here. This one kind of made me think of Round Shield Cavalry from Rome 1 for some reason. Yeah, so the Round Shield Swordsman, let me give you a quick description on them. Their high weapon damage makes the Round Shield Swordsman fearsome combatants who punch above their weight. Not sure exactly what that means. They do have good weapon damage for a cheap unit. They've got pretty solid melee attack for a cheap unit. Their charge bonus is so-so. It's better than Roman units, but it's not real high. Melee defense is kind of low, but for being this cheap, it's kind of to be expected. Same thing with armor, health, and morale. What you do get on a very cheap unit here is Headhunt. That's a brutal ability to give a unit that's this cheap, because when they're in Headhunt, they have a small period of time. I want to say it's about 30-40 seconds where they're unbreakable, which is interesting. Also, wedge formation here. Just interesting that this popped in on infantry. Did it come in on other infantry? Yeah, it came in on swordmasters too. That's weird. Not sure where this wedge formation's coming in. I wonder if they did it on other factions. No wedge formation there. Sorry, this is just a curiosity for me now. Not on the Arverni. Boii? Nope. Interesting. I wonder why they give the Swaby wedge formation some of their infantry. But yeah, in any case, that's the Round Shield Swordsman. Looks like just a good kind of lower tier to maybe a low mid-tier swordsman, which the Swaby badly needed. So a good unit to throw in there for him. And I'll talk about some other things that have changed with Swaby, but there's one more unit I want to cover, which is the Riders of the Hunt. This is a spear cavalry, and here they are here. Another unit that the Swaby badly needed, a mid-tier cav unit, rather than just having to choose between elite cav and light cav. And seems like, what happened to their light cav? It got changed into a missile cav. They're not quite as strong as Galatian Raiders, but they're pretty much the same idea. And again, we'll cover that in a second. But anyway, Riders of the Hunt, solid melee attack, pretty standard weapon damage, standard bonus versus infantry. That's a pretty good charge bonus for a melee horse on both of these units. It's a pretty good charge bonus. Melee defense is also good on these guys. Their armor's pretty low for I know that they're a cheap heavy cav unit, but for a heavy cav unit, their armor's pretty low. Their health is not bad, and let's take a look at that health though too. So the men have 45 hit points, their mounts at 25, and if you compare that to the noble riders, just for measure, I mean that's 10 more hit points on both horse and mount for the noble riders. So these guys are going to go down a little quicker than the noble riders, but I mean for the price, they look to be an excellent unit. I'm going to have to try them out though. So that's all of the units that were added to the Swaby, but there's some other things that changed about this. Or no, it's not all the units that were added to Swaby. Some other units were added to Swaby, but they're part of the Daughters of Mars pack. I will get to those later so as to not be confusing. Let's take a look, though, at some other things that changed. Wolf Warriors took a change in price, but also took a pretty dramatic increase in melee attack. I don't remember these guys having 42 melee attack. Am I crazy? Did Wolf Warriors change, or am I just dreaming? I also think Bloodsworn got an improvement to their stats. Their base morale seems much higher. That's a pretty sturdy unit for the price. Yeah, I mean, so there's some things here that changed on some of the Swaby units in general. Wodenaz Spears, I thought these guys, did they cost 890 before? I know they didn't have 43 melee attack. And I'm not sure about the weapon damage. But, I mean, these guys also just got buffed. So these are some strong spear units. These Wodenaz Spears are extremely strong spear units. They also have that wedge formation. So, I mean, this is a very good spear unit. Probably one of the best counter-cavalry spear units in the game. Because of that huge attack, plus having cavalry counter tactics, plus it has expert charge defense, plus it has an encourage ability. And it all comes for less than 1,000. That's a bargain of a spear unit right there. Their armor is kind of low compared to, say, a hoplite, but they have very good melee defense. So that's an interesting spear unit. So yeah, they changed a few things about the Swaby. It was just very interesting to me, some of the changes that they made. And now let's cover the Daughters of Mars unit pack. That's pretty much all the changes that I've noticed so far with the Swaby. If you've seen any changes on the Swaby or other factions, let me know about it in the comments and I'll be able to speak to it later. But let's move on to the Daughters of Mars unit pack. So the Daughters of Mars is a DLC, a paid DLC. It's $3. And it basically adds a few more female warrior units for those who are interested in it. Now, I'm sure that there'll be like a big discussion that gets started here in a minute about pay to win and all this other stuff. I don't see any of these units in this unit pack being a pay-to-win scenario. The good units, to be honest, I say the good units, some of these units are fun. I'm glad I got them. But some of the better units that got introduced today were the free ones, if you ask me. And to be honest, the Swaby just took a major buff today. They were pretty strong already. I say strong, they were very shaky if used wrong, but if you used them right, they were very strong. Now the Swaby are definitely going to be a faction to be feared. You're going to have to keep an eye on these guys. They have some serious tools at their disposal now. So I think that these guys just became the strongest barbarian faction. That's just my opinion. I haven't gotten to test it yet, but they just became strong. And they have some serious tools that are going to help them out against other factions as well. All right. Let's see. Let's go into this. So the Daughters of Mars unit pack. We'll start off with the if I can say this, Gladiatresses, which is a female gladiator, if I'm saying that right. If I'm saying it wrong, you can correct me. We'll go to Rome, which is the faction that receives. Now, some people were kind of mad, like, geez, as if Rome needed any more units. Well, Rome got 2 more units. One is the just Gladiatresses here. What's the difference between them and a standard gladiator unit? They have lower attack, but more melee defense and armor, and better morale. They do have lower health. So they cost about the same, and they're probably going to deal out about the same amount of damage. They have the same number of units. They're really not a big game changer. If you already have gladiators that were free, the Gladiatresses are pretty much the same type of unit. Again, they traded a little attack for some armor and defense. And then it's the same thing with these spear Gladiatresses down here. This was another Daughter of Mars unit. More armor, more melee defense, less, I think less attack. Yeah, 5 less attack here. And then a lower charge bonus as well. I wonder if that's the same on both. Nope, same charge bonus up here. So just minor differences between the two. It's really just more of a, hey, if you want to have fun and use this unit, now it's here. Again, that's why I don't think at least those two are definitely not looking like a pay-to-win unit. If we move on from there, it's the next one that we want to take a look at is the Mercenary Kushite Shield Woman, which was another unit that they added here. So let's go to that. So it's for Egypt. Also, some of these units can be recruited as mercenaries in the campaign. I'm just showing them to you where they would show up in a multiplayer battle, but they are available in campaign as well. So, Mercenary Kushite Shield Women, they're actually very similar to a, let's see, they're not all that different from, let's see, it looks like a Levi Thurio, or a Thurio Spear. They're comparable to a Thurio Spear. What's the main differences? As you can see, they have lower armor, a little lower health, higher attack, and lower charge, a little more melee defense. And then how do they compare to like the Leopard Warriors? They're pretty similar. So it's basically, but they're a lot cheaper. So this is actually a pretty viable spear unit, like as far as a flank protection for the price that you get, in my opinion. Yes, they're a little low armor and health, but so you don't want them necessarily getting charged by the enemy horsemen. But if they get into a fight, they have cavalry counter tactics too, which none of these other spear units do, and that's a big deal. So it's going to make this unit particularly good against cavalry for Egypt, which is kind of good because Egypt just has Ptolemaic Cav, which is fantastic, and Egypt also has Citizen Cav, which is kind of crummy, and there's really no in between. So giving them this mercenary Kushite shield woman might actually be kind of a cool unit for them to help balance against, say, like Bactria, who's got extremely good cavalry for the price. So let's move on to the next one, Lusitani Swordswoman, or Swordswomen, sorry. There's not just like a single woman that's just completely awesome. That would be interesting, though, like a one-woman unit. So Lusitani Swordswomen, and I've noticed a lot of these units are capped in army use. Not really sure why that is. Did they cap any other units? No. So for 360 talents, this is a heck of a sword unit here. They're very low armor, like most other Lusitani units, but if you look at this, for 360 talents, you get a 40 melee attack, 35 weapon damage, 10 bonus versus infantry. Now the drawback here, 10 charge bonus. Not much charge bonus. So again, this unit's not going to want to be one of your mainline units. You're going to want to put it into a fight after the fight's been started. You do not want this unit getting charged by heavier units. Good melee defense, but low armor and health. So again, you do not want this unit getting charged by other units, and you don't want to count on it to be standing up to heavier units in a prolonged melee combat, but potentially a good cheap flanking unit. Alright, let's move, and let's see. It does have frenzied charge, actually, so that could help their charge. I'd have to turn it on to see how big of a difference it makes. So that is a special ability that they come with. The next one is, I don't know how to pronounce this right, Kimbri or Simbri Bowwomen. If you all know the best way to pronounce it, it's probably Kimbri, I'm guessing. Bowwomen, which is an archer unit added to the Suebi. So the Suebi, again, picking up another great unit. And what's so great? The Suebi finally have a 150 range archer unit. It's the first barbarian faction to pick up a 150 range archer unit. Which is huge because they need this to help defend against other factions. They were hurting so bad for skirmishers. Now this is not a high armor archer like a Cretan archer or something like that, so they're still going to be lesser than those units, but there's a few good things about this unit that I want to point out. Number one, its price is very affordable. It is slow on shots per minute, so it's not going to keep up with Cretan archers or some of the other great archers in the game. It doesn't have the same armor, but they do have solid melee attack, weapon damage, and I wouldn't say solid melee defense, but they have a little. They're lacking in armor, not bad on health and morale for the price. This is going to be a huge unit in helping the Suebi to finally get some actual skirmishing power. They do not have heavy shot, however they have whistling shot, and they also have flaming shot, which makes them potential morale busters, basically. So Suebi, again, a lot of morale busting tools on their side. So be careful of Suebi scare armies more than ever. The next one we'll talk about is Gorgo's Skirmishers. Let's go take a look at Gorgo's Skirmishers. This is a unit that's available to Sparta. Unfortunately, probably not going to be a huge game-changing unit for Sparta, though they badly need such a thing. So Gorgo's Skirmishers is a 360 talent slinger unit with 20 attack, which is better than the Helot Slingers. And they have really good reload speed. It's pretty much on par with Rhodian Slingers, so impressive for a cheap slinger unit. So reload speed's going to be good on these guys, good range. Could potentially be a useful unit for Sparta. I don't think it's going to, again, probably not a game changer, but definitely a fun unit to throw in there. Let's see, the next and last unit that got added with the Daughters of Mars pack would be Spearwomen, and that was one that was, again, added to the Suebi. So Suebi picking up a huge load of units today. So if you're a Suebi fan, today's your day. And I'm guessing this is why I think I saw CA on Twitter saying they're going to be doing some Suebi live stream this Friday, and this would explain why. Anyway, the Suebi Spearwomen, let's take a look at them. They are a full unit. They're at 660 talents, decent melee attack and weapon damage for a spear unit at this price. Good bonus versus large, decent charge bonus, good melee defense, fair armor for a spear unit at this price, and pretty darn low health, good morale. Now, what kind of features do they have that are going to be interesting? Number one, they have, again, this wedge. They've got shield screen, cavalry counter tactics, and Frenzied Charge, along with Expert Charge Defense and Courage. That's huge. Again, the Suebi having the cheapest Encourage units in the game. And then Expert Charge Defense is great, because that means that when cavalry are charging at you and you countercharge them, you're still going to take more damage than if you were braced, but it helps your unit be a little more active in the anti-cavalry role. Because normally if you just charge a unit with unbraced spearmen, they're going to get clobbered. I'm not necessarily saying they won't in this case, but that Expert Charge Defense is really going to help you out at stopping shot cav and heavy melee cav from killing a whole bunch of your people on the charge. So a very interesting unit indeed. The Suebi loaded with tools at this point, especially if you picked up the DLC. Even if you did not, the Suebi having quite a few tools, even just from the free update. So again, if you were a Suebi fan, today was a good day for you. Anyway, that's all the units that got added. Let's actually take a look at some of these new Suebi units just to see them in action. What I'm going to do is just throw a little Roman army up here, and just for the sake of fun, we'll just put a few Suebi units in here. I don't expect my guys to win this fight, but I'm just going to throw some of these new units in here for us to see. And look at these riders. I mean, look how many more Suebi units I can bring for the price now. It's pretty crazy, huh? And let's see. Yeah. I'm just throwing units in here. Let's just do that. And I just want to build a little Suebi army, take it up against a Roman army for the fun of it. I will bring you views of... Oh, there's actually a few units that I forgot, actually, from the free edition. Geez, before I forget, I'm going to go to them. Let me just finish throwing some upgrades out here. I'm going to show them to you over here on the computer side real quick. The units I forgot, sorry, and these are free units too. Man, I just forgot to go back to these. So if you go to Scythia, Scythia actually picked up a couple of units too. So Scythia got 2 female warrior units. One is the Amazonian Riders. These are 150 range bow cav, first in the game. So an impressive bow cav at that range. They've got heavy shot, whistling shot, flaming shot, precision shot, Parthian shot, fire whilst moving, of course. I do not see Cantabrian Circle. Or yeah, they do have Cantabrian Circle as well. And then there's also a Scythian Noblewomen unit, which has better melee attack and armor. It's also a 150 range horse archer unit with 32 attack. So Scythia just picked up a couple of nice horse archer units to be added. Sorry, that was the end of the additional units. So almost forgot them. Glad I didn't, because they were kind of an interesting addition too. No headhunting maidens returning like they did in Rome 1. Of course, we all called them cheese hunting maidens. They were really rather ridiculous, but it was pretty funny watching these axe-wielding women chop down sometimes even Praetorian cav, even though they were a light cav unit. Man, Scythia was a fearsome faction sometimes in Rome 1, if they got used properly. I mean, they were shaky, but man, the headhunting maidens, good grief. They were bad sometimes, though I'm sure there's some people who will miss them. Anyway, let me put Rome back on here. The AI picked an army for Rome here. I'll just play against it. It's not a very good army, but whatever. And should be set here. Just kick off a battle here on Nemena Cinna map. Just want to show you some of these units, get some close-ups real quick, let you all see them in action. I brought pretty much mostly new units here. Of course, I brought a couple of Woden spears and berserkers. We'll just see what we can do up against this Roman army. Oh, I hope I picked the Aria Vistus general ability. I probably didn't. Probably didn't, because I wasn't paying attention. Let's see if I did. I did not. Alright, we can't play as a Suebi without the Aria Vistus general ability. That's all the fun, man, having the fast charge. There we go. Alright, now we can continue freely against the Romans. So, man, that's a terrible Roman army the AI picked there, but whatever. They got 4 pretty strong infantry units, so I should be able to outnumber and destroy them. Let's take my. We're gonna need to blob up. So let's get my blob ready. Wow, that was a long screaming of swords. Get these guys in here. Okay. And it looks like they're categorizing these guys as light horsemen. Yeah, light melee cav, which for a light cav, that's a pretty heavy melee cav. So let's just But yeah, their armor's pretty low, so these guys aren't probably going to do so well in extended melee. I'm going to be careful with how I engage them. Let's just put them in my blob. And do the same here. Alright, so we got all my units blobbed. And it says I will win if time runs out, so clearly I'm the defender, which means Rome will march towards me. I'm going to fast forward until my unit abilities are ready. That's so weird, the wedge formation. It says it drops their melee defense, but increases their charge bonus and melee attack. It probably slows them. Does it slow them down? Let's see if it slows them down. Acceleration and melee defense, yeah, so it makes them accelerate slower. Okay, alright, let's move my new unit blob forward and just get ready to destroy all Romans. And hopefully that's what'll happen here. Last time I tried this in multiplayer, I was a little bit early in the activation of my abilities, though I don't expect the AI is going to retreat. But I will be more careful about my ability use here and try and do better. You can use the AI activation of certain unit abilities, though they don't always do such a good job. I'll try it though, we'll just see. I'll just see how good the AI does. I can't activate Frenzied Charge on it, huh? That's weird. Okay. I'm curious just to see how the AI uses these abilities. Alright, so I think we're close enough to the Romans. I'm going to activate Fast Charge. And let's get my Wodeness Spears moving up. Okay, Romans are just coming straight into my lob of infantry. Not a bad plan, actually. It got me all screwed up. Okay, looks like my guys did automatically use Headhunt and everything. I also don't know if I waited long enough for my guys to...
The men are wavering.
No, I don't think I waited long enough to get my men into their positions. Time to use Pride. Should have used Pride already, actually. So, oh wow, my Wodeness Spears just trashed those Saki Equites. Let's see if we can get some flaming shots in here. Let's get my Berserkers into battle. Looks like this is actually gonna start turning into my favor. Getting some nice morale damaging effect here.
This is a shameful display.
Let's take these Hex Bears into action. And I'm doing a terrible job controlling my units, but I'm gonna just take my take these.
The enemy general is dead.
Okay.
Our general has fallen.
My general's dead. That's not good. But we've cleaned up a lot of Roman units here. This is funny because I've been pretty sloppy and my attack's still not going all that poorly.
Rumble before us.
I wonder what happened to all the rest of my Berserker units. Can't quite spot all of them.
A unit is running from the battlefield.
Hex Bears. Okay, I'm gonna start bringing my cav around. I'm gonna actually, yeah, I'm still using the ammunition on Flaming Shot. Let's see if we can get a good rear charge here. Got my Javelin cav moving in too. Gonna take out the remainder of the Roman skirmishers. Kind of slowly but surely getting a rout out of here. My Berserkers, fortunately for me, they came in towards the end of the fight and did a pretty good job. Interesting to see how these units play out. I might go back and get you some close-ups of some of them in combat since you didn't get to see them during this little live rendition.
Battle is turning in our favor.
See if we can get rid of this Numidian Jav Cav here. My Berserkers are going a little bit crazy right now. Yeah, check out the Numidian Jav Cav going down to my bow women. Definitely taking them out of play. See if we can surround and destroy some of these
Our
remaining
men flee the
final
field of battle.
Roman units. Got my my Riders of the Hunt here surrounding this Praetorian unit. Don't know if the Praetorian unit's actually going to break under the pressure of just some fairly light horse, but they are the last unit on the battlefield, so it's possible they will, though I don't expect some great effect there. Interesting, so even with all the mistakes, the Suebi pulling off a victory here. Again, it was against the AI, so nothing conclusive there. But I do want to go back and just get you some close-ups of those units real quick so that you can see them up close. Let's pull up that replay and let's take a look at some of the units in action. I'll fast forward past the blob piece and just get you some up-close action. Show you the visuals on these units. Again, I didn't use them real well here, but just to kind of show you all how these units could be potentially used. I should, if you're going to use them better, the hex bearers, I should have gotten them on the Roman flanks quicker. I wasn't prepared to micro this out quickly enough, and that is still going to be one of the challenges of the Suebis. You got to micro everything out very well. You have to time things well. You have to get the right units to the right position. I would not use a full line of round shield swordsmen. You know, that's a risky business because they're fairly weak. You could definitely bring a few of them to bolster your line. But I'm sure that there's probably better combinations out there than what I brought here. You certainly don't need 4 archers either, unless you were expecting elephants maybe. All right, so let's take a look. Here's the round shield swordsman up close. Very cool looking unit, although some of them definitely have rectangular shields. Wodenaz spears, nothing new there. Here's the Cimbri bowwomen, looking quite ferocious and firing over the back of their head, which is definitely an impressive trait. Here's my Riders of the Hunt, charging up against the Praetorian Cav. Did these guys kill Praetorian Cav? So that's impressive. And let's see, where's my the new version of the Scout Riders back here? They look very similar, but with javelins, and then they use swords as a secondary weapon. Those Cimbri bowwomen are kind of a cool unit. Berserkers, or here's the hex bearers. So not sure why they're named that, but also a pretty cool looking unit. Let's check out some of my units in combat here. The round shield swordsmen in combat with the Praetorian Guard, being showered with flaming missiles everywhere. So I'll just kind of let you enjoy some of the aesthetics here. Got some Wodenaz spears in there too. But yeah, these round shield swordsmen, pretty cool looking unit. That guy just lifting a Praetorian over his head. And then of course the Praetorian there just massacring one of these guys, which is understandable. Wow, that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This game does have some beautiful graphics. So what other units am I bringing in here? Here comes the Hex Bearer unit. These units really aren't made on the charge, which is good because the Romans weren't countercharging me. And probably not meant for long-term combat, but look at these Praetorians beating up women. How low of them. Don't they know manners? Speaking of which, I decided that I'd have some fun here too. I'm going to be willing to give out some copies of this new DLC for anybody who owns Rome 2. So that's the trick here. If you want to win this DLC, you need to own Rome 2. And of course, you know, you will have had to watch this video to figure this out. But in the comments, leave me your cheesiest pickup line for trying to pick up one of these female warriors. And for those of you who may not be familiar with pickup lines, obviously it's just something, in this case, that, you know, guys like to try and say something slick, you know, to get a girl to go out with them or something like that. Let's keep it clean here. Don't want anything that's R-rated, particularly definitely not X-rated. Let's keep it clean. So the winner is going to have a fairly clean one. I don't need a lot of references to anatomy or anything else. Just, you know, a funny pickup line, like, I don't know, I'll let you make it up. I'm going to pick my 5 favorites out of the comments, and you'll win a copy of the DLC. Again, it's not a huge deal, it's just $3 DLC, which I thought it'd be fun to give some of these away. So if you don't want to buy the DLC, but you can think of a witty pickup line, again, the idea is trying to pick up on one of these female soldiers, try and tie it in. Tie it in with Rome 2, tie it in with Patchy, tie it in with whatever, you know, whatever you want to do. Just make air like it, and I'll get you a copy of the DLC. Of course, in order to win that, once I see your comment, I'll let you know that I've picked it, and then you'll have to give me your Steam name so that I can send it to you on Steam. But in any case, yeah, hope you all are going to enjoy this. Hopefully I got you some good information here. It's kind of a long video, but there was quite a bit to cover. And hope you all are ready to give these new units and the new Suebi roster a try. New units are definitely kind of fun. Again, I don't see it as a pay-to-win scenario. But if you're just looking for some units to spice things up, definitely some interesting units that got delivered here. Some of my favorites, I think, so far are the free ones. Like I said, some of the free units were my favorite. The Round Shield Warriors, the Light Cav unit, the Riders of the Hunt for the Swaby. That one's huge. Also trying to think of the others that are going to be interesting in there. The Kimbri Bow Women gives the Swaby a nice bow unit for the price, too. And in fact, that's one of the best bow units for that price. Not the best, probably, because you got Persian Light Archers and others that are very similar. But still a great bow unit for the price. I'm trying to think of some of my other favorites that I saw in here. I'm interested to try the Amazonian Riders. Haven't given them a try yet, but 150 range Horse Archers would be interesting because they can do hit and runs a lot better. So, yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on. Again, if you want to win a copy of this Daughters of Mars DLC, leave your funny pickup line in the comments. Again, let me reiterate, no X or R rated pickup lines. It's not going to catch my attention. Because I sat here and told you it wasn't the rule. I'm sure you could think of them, but trying to keep things fairly family-friendly here on the site. I'll give away 5 copies of it. I mean, if I just get a really huge load of awesome ones, I might go up from 5 copies and give away a few more. So anyway, make me laugh. Put something down there that people can enjoy, and you'll win yourself a copy of the DLC. Anyway, Heir of Carthage signing off for now. See you in Rome 2 at a later point.